my name is Tuju. I'm a member of the intellectual property and startup team at Aluko and Oyebode, and I'm joined with my friend and colleague, the beautiful.
Yes, my sorry.
She's blushing.
Okay, so my name is Yoma Ojigoro. I'm a member of the dispute resolution and startup team at Aluko and Oyebode. Yes.
What are we going to be talking about today?
Oh, something very exciting. Just general things we wish people knew about the law. We see so many misconceptions online. People are doing crazy things, and we just want to set everyone straight, really.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Okay. What's the first misconception, or from your personal experience or professional experience, what's the first thing that you think that people need to really know about how we as lawyers function and how
Okay.
the law actually works?
Okay, so this might sound a bit funny, but it's not actually. So the first thing I wish people knew is that lawyers don't perform magic.
Right. True.
And I'm sure you're wondering, like, no one expects you to perform magic.
Yeah,
But you see certain situations and you ask yourself, what's going on? Are you actually expecting me to create
Work
something
from nothing, yeah.
Exactly. So here, what I'm talking about is that evidence is key. A lot of times people have cases, they have disputes without adequate evidence to back up what it is you're saying. And what is evidence? Evidence is simply anything, whether tangible or intangible, that you use to prove or disprove an alleged fact. In popular pop culture,
Receipts.
your receipts.
Show me the receipts.
Yes, exactly. So let me give a little illustration. So just give me any random name.
Randy?
Oh, okay. Randy for random. Okay. So you have maybe Randy and then you have Jide. Two very good friends. They've known each other for some time. And Jide, by the way, is a baker. So Jide instructs Randy to provide him flour, things for an event. He has a big event coming up on a Wednesday. And he tells Jide, okay, it's coming up on the 6th, Wednesday. Please provide me these things. And Randy hears that, no problem. But then the 6th comes, he can't reach Randy. Randy's not picking up his phone. Nothing is happening. He misses out on that huge event. On the other hand, like 3 days after, Randy shows up with all the flour,
Ingredients.
everything he needed for the event. And Jide is clearly confused, like, why are you just bringing it now? I don't need it anymore. I'm not going to pay for it. But Randy's like, no, you told me to bring it on Saturday. So now you have a dispute. One person is saying, I brought it the day I should bring it. Another person is saying, no, you didn't. Now you are approached as a lawyer by Jide to come and settle the dispute or institute an action basically, because he's not going to pay for what he didn't use. So first thing you ask, okay, where's the agreement? At least where's the contract? The contract will clearly state when you should have brought it. And then Jide says, it's my guy now, he's my person, no need for a contract. We just talked over drinks and agreed. Okay, no problem. Do you have
Text messages, please.
exactly
Yeah.
any form of evidence to show?
Communication to show,
And then he was like, okay, yes, I sent him a message. Beautiful. Where's the message? And the message is the guy, what's up?
Alpha.
Put on, wait,
What's good?
like nothing referencing, any interaction on where's my goods, it's today, nothing like that. You just said, guy, how far? And then the court is supposed to interpret guy, how far as what. So that's some of the challenges, lawyers have, is we can't create something out of nothing. So provide your evidence, bring your receipts, to be able to stand a fighting chance and have a good case. And so that's the first thing.
Flowing from that, I would say that I wish people trusted lawyers more than they trusted Google.
Very.
Because you have people that are like, yes, I agree, I need to have an agreement, right?
Okay.
But instead of meeting a lawyer, you go on Google and you just, download something and you just skip. This is a personal experience of mine. A friend of a friend had come to meet me and said, that they have an agreement and they wanted to meet a company.
Okay.
She and her partner had an agreement and wanted to meet a company, and the company had insisted that they bring their lawyers with them. And I said, okay, what am I going to be talking? Oh no, you don't need to do anything. Just show up. I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. Just give me the agreement. Let me at
Yes,
least
yes. Let me
take a
know
look
what's
at the agreement between you and your partner and this company. Let's know what exactly it is. And she's, and I was like, you know what, you're not going to pay anything. Just bring the, agreement. I'm trying to give back to society. Bring the agreement. And
so
she brings the
thoughtful of
agreement.
you.
Yeah, and she brings the agreement, and I'm going through the agreement, and there's just some clauses that were a bit just steep for a startup. I
Okay,
just
like
felt that there were
like
some
what?
obligations that were looking at the business, looking at the people. You could not even carry. But the one that blew my socks off was the applicable law. Two Nigerians carrying on business, wanting to do business with a Nigerian company in Nigeria, wanted to be bounded by laws in Singapore.
Wait, sorry. Say that
The
again.
applicable law was Singaporean.
Singapore. So, like, what's the
And I'm
correlation?
like, okay. And I said, who drafted this agreement? He said, no, we didn't draft it. That we just went on Google, downloaded, and we have all the terms. And I'm like, wow. We as lawyers are not magicians.
Yes.
We are actually risk analysts. We can, from our experience, what the interpretation of laws, our, how the courts will see things, we can actually help you avoid problems. So with having your agreement, we can look at your agreement, look at your situation, know the applicable clauses that would help you.
Exactly.
In the event that there is a problem. So alongside not seeing us as magicians, we hope you trust us with your work and know that we can actually do that for you.
Yeah, I think just to add to the whole Google fiasco, our brothers in the medical profession, I'm sure they suffer the same type of prejudice. So you see someone has a headache and is running temperature and decides to consult Dr. Google and goes on there and puts it.
And Google tells you.
Yeah, and in less
You
than
have cancer.
yes, the person finds out that he has cancer, he has a brain tumor, he's possibly going to die in 2 days, like a lot of ridiculous things. And that happens because you are putting a very specific symptom in a very general platform.
Yeah.
So same here, no two disputes are the same.
Yeah.
When you have a dispute, it's very peculiar, it's very unique. So when you put it on a general platform like Google and ask Google to generate any type of agreement for you, you end up realizing that it can't tie in, it can't really flow well. So you have to, consult a lawyer who can make it more specific.
Who can actually help you, direct you for direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking about direction, for your applicable law scenario, I'm not going to spill too much because this is part of our profession. But there's a way around it. There's wiggle room around it. There's an exception to it. So if you want to know more about the exception, consult a lawyer.
Consult your lawyer.
Yes, consult your lawyer.
What's the second thing that is one thing, especially looking at social media, looking at generally around you? What's the second misconception you think people have?
The third thing I wish people knew is that you can actually be liable for the things that you post online.
Yes.
Shocking, right?
Yes.
Shocking.
Yes.
Because we live in a world where people post anything they want.
Freedom of expression.
Yeah,
the constitutional
exactly.
rights, yeah.
Oh, I saw a good saying. It says, freedom of expression does not protect you from the consequences of posting silly things. Yes.
That's so good.
Yes. So at the end of the day, people post anything they like. You go online and people are accusing other people of
baseless.
Yes, baseless, unsubstantiated things.
They're dragging each other on Twitter.
Exactly.
On things that don't even exist.
And sometimes they think it's just bans.
Yeah.
But then there's actually something called defamation. And people do get sued for defaming others. Yeah. So when you go online and you post something that you know is false, you post it about someone else, every other person sees it. Even if it's just one person who sees it, that's called publication.
You've published, yeah.
So once one person sees it, that person, the person you are falsely accusing, can actually sue you for defamation, and it's in two ways. So there's libel, there's slander. Slander is like when you just it's not in written form, it's not in permanent form. So when you say something, like maybe we're in a room together and there are other people, and then I'm like, I accuse you of something.
You're a thief.
Exactly. So, and then there's libel, which is the written form. So your tweets, your blog post, all of that's libel. But it's important to note that merely insulting somebody is not defamation.
No, but are you saying that if, okay, we're just here together, we're just, banting, and I go and say, oh, she insulted me, without, does that tie up with that?
Thank you for that question because I was thinking about a particular scenario in my head last night. And it's imagine I slide into your DM. Maybe you are a business, you own your own business, and I slide into your DM and I am accusing you of being a scammer. You take people's money, you don't provide services, you are fake, you are this and that. But that's in your DM, so you're the only one who saw it. But then you take a screenshot and post it on your page.
Share it on Twitter.
Yes, for your followers to see that,
Yeah.
see what this person is saying. Would that amount to publication? I don't think so. I don't think so because in that regard, the intent behind publication is that the person who is making that false statement is saying it to bring down your reputation, to attack your reputation. But if you are the one who is putting it out there, you are the one doing damage to your own
Your own self,
reputation.
yeah.
So in that instance, you should just maybe make a general disclaimer like, this person has accused me falsely. I have never scammed anyone. It's not true.
So pretty much not go into the
Yes.
detail of what
So
the person,
you don't be the one to promote.
that sort of negative
Yes,
publicity.
especially when it's private. So in that regard, it won't fly. I don't believe it will fly as defamation. Maybe it will fly as something else. There are other ways you can address it. And
But it's so important that you said this. Well, I was following a celebrity case some while back with
Okay.
a famous actor, an actress,
Okay.
who shall not be named. And I followed the trial closely, and I realized that one of the major things that one of the team was, addressing in court was the fact that she gave an interview on her opinion
I
of
know
a
who
bad
this is
marriage.
oh, I know who
Of a
this is
bad
about.
marriage and how she was abused. And then after she gave the interview, she shared it to her Twitter. She shared it on Twitter so
Okay.
her fans could see it. So the argument was around the fact that she published. The fact
She
that
was the one-
I gave it. I wasn't the one that wrote it. It
Yes.
wasn't. It was a news outlet. But the fact that I shared and I said, "This is my story. Please read." That was defamation.
Yeah.
And then you now go into the part that say, you know what, since you have come to allege that I'm doing this, you have to prove. So I think I think you should talk more about justification because, there are times where we've been hurt and burnt. I mean, you've gone on social media, you bought something from a vendor that did not give you your money back, and then you put it out there. Would I be held liable for defamation for saying the truth?
So, before I address that point, I just want to say that, these are very depth conversations, and I'm sure you've heard about, I don't know if you saw, but let's leave that. Okay. So, for justification, justification simply means that you're justified in doing that. It means it's true. So, if someone has actually scammed you online, and then you go on your page and you're posting about it. This person, I paid for this item, this person never delivered. And you post about it. It's true.
Shows
It
you
happened.
receipts.
Yes. You provide your receipts.
Yes.
It happened. So the law is not going to say, oh, well, it's true, but then don't talk about somebody like that. No. It's going to say, yes, as far as this is true, this is a defense to defamation. So you will not be held liable for defamation at all. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. So next time you want to tweet about your opinions,
Think before you tweet.
think
Yes.
before you tweet. Think before you jump on
Okay.
on Twitter Spaces.
Okay, so for you, like, what
I think
else?
one that comes to mind now is that following from the Google and comparing it with our medical field, I wish people would know that there's a difference between our government agencies in the country have different objectives
Okay.
and they're commissioned differently.
Okay.
And I think I would say that I wish people would know the difference between a company incorporated on the CAMA, that's the Companies Allied Matters Act, regulated by the Corporate Affairs Commission, and when you have your trademark registered in the Trademarks Registry.
Okay.
And I say this because, especially dealing with startups and people, entrepreneurs, and they say, anything about my business is protected, I'm legally sound, and they're coming and they're saying, somebody is using my brand and I have CAC. I just sue. And I'm like, do you have a trademark registration in the country? I said, no. No, they say yes, first of all. I'm like, okay, bring your documentations, let's see. And then they bring you CAC. So where's the trademark registration? And they're like, what's that? That this is not all I have. And I think just to point that out, that in as much as you have a company registration, you have a company name that gives you an entity or, gives you a place in the market, your branding,
you have to
different.
protect it.
You have to protect it. It's different. And this government agencies, the Trademark Registry, the Corporate Affairs Commission, what we call CAC, they do the same thing. They give you an identity. However, the use of your identity is different. And paralleling that with the medical field like you did, we have doctors. Everybody knows that the doctor is to treat and, make sure you're okay. But there's several doctors for specific reasons. If like a woman that wants to give birth, you have the gynecologist that checks your reproductive system. Yes, you won't go to your dentist. Then you have the pediatrician. It's a doctor as well, but they deal with children that are sick. So the same way it is in the medical field, it's the same way it is in the legal field. We have different government agencies doing different things that may appear similar, and you'll be like, oh, why do I need to spend money for my trademark? And it's like, yes, you already have an entity, but your branding is a different ballgame. There are different nuances with that. So talking to a lawyer would help you understand this is what is the applicable law, the applicable agencies, what you need to do, and all that. And I think I just needed to put that out there.
And I think a lot of people take advantage of other people's failure to protect themselves.
Yeah.
So you see someone starts out a beautiful brand, it becomes popular, only to find out over time that another person has started using your brand name.
Flying with it.
Yes, and that's where the issue of passing off comes in. And I have a personal experience.
Yeah, that speaks to my actually second point. Actually jumping because I wanted to say that I wish people knew the difference.
Let's just go there. What's your next point?
The difference between being inspired and when you copy.
Okay.
When you're inspired, you take out elements of something you've seen, a music, a book, a phrase or some colors. You take that and you form something new out of you. I think we have to know that the laws exist, especially intellectual property laws, exist to encourage creativity, not stifle them. So when you invent, but when you just take something, this is black, is bent that way, you take the same thing and you use it for yourself, then there is a problem.
So are there situations where, because we hear
several situations?
No, so we hear certain songs and it's like, man, last, this song reminds me of something I've heard
same
before.
Beats.
Yeah, same beat, same intro.
In fact, the same lyrics at some point.
So are there times where the law will actually protect?
Yes.
So what do you have to do
when you and I think we're going into copyrights, the different types of IP. We're going into copyrights. When you have a song and somebody does a cover, for instance, what's the latest song popping now, and someone does a cover in their own way, that's transformative. It's different. It's not exactly, you're not infringing, but it's different. You're fair dealing with the song.
As long as the person is not trying to make profit
from it. That's
yes.
one. You're not trying to, commercialize off somebody's existing work.
Yes.
And it's different. What you're doing is transformative. Or you can have I remember Fowles and this is Nigeria when he was critiquing,
yes.
Was doing something that I don't know the American artist that did it.
Yes, Childish Gambino.
This is American. Fowles did his own version of This is America. He was critiquing. He did something transformative with the song, and though they had similar elements to it, but it was transformative. He was talking about our own issues in Nigeria, as Gambino was talking about their own issues in America. So those sort of instances are different. You will clearly see that Fowles owned it. There was several inventive and new things about what he did with the beat and the song. So I think that would pass.
Yes. So finally, my personal experience, because this is paining me away. And it happened a while ago. So sometime in 2015, I went to, a very large retail outlet. Some of you may know it as Obalende Markets. Tomato, whatever. We just went shopping. And so I went to get... don't laugh. I went to get
I'm already laughing.
Gucci glasses.
in a Balende market.
Well, to be fair, like things happen. So I had heard there was a particular store that sold really
Luxury
good.
goods.
Yeah, so I went there. I saw the Gucci glasses.
Wow, Gucci.
Very affordable. Like I didn't have to break the bank. I was so proud of myself. Like, maybe for once, or maybe not just for once, but maybe they were just being
I'm sure you
nice.
thought they were doing sales or
Yes,
something. Yeah.
they were just,
On the luxury good, yeah.
yeah, they're just trying to give back to society and help
Corporate
us.
social
And
responsibility.
so I got the glasses and I went home, showed my siblings. I was so excited. But when I looked closely, I realized that my Gucci glass was actually a Gucci glass. So they are taking out the first C and imputed an N.
Wow.
And yes, for you to see. So, and
No, but I think I have to clarify here.
Okay.
Copyright is different. We have several types of IP.
Yes.
Copyright is different. Trademark is different.
yes,
When you are trying to pass off your good as someone else's,
that's trademark.
I mean, that's a trademark
Yes.
issue. The person can argue and say, oh, it's Gonchi. But I'm like, in the phonetic pronunciation, in the first look, the get up,
That's what I was going to, because it
you've
was
already
very
created
clear.
confusion in the market.
Yes, it was very clear that what that Gucci brand,
Gucci.
what they were trying to do was profit off
An
Gucci's
existing
established name
goodwill.
and
Yeah,
goodwill.
yeah.
And because of that, obviously I was confused.
Yeah, it's
I would
confusion in the
never
market,
think
yeah.
there would be a Gucci. What's
Yeah.
Gucci? What's that? What does that
You
mean?
don't know about them, yeah.
So-
but
so-
you don't know about them. You've given them airtime.
Oh my god! In fact, I thought of if I still had those glasses, because I was so angry I threw them away.
Wow.
If I still had it, I would have. This would be a good time to bring it out and say, "Oh, here
Don't
it is." So, but yes, okay. So that's fine for that point. I
Yeah.
think,
and I think just to stress
okay.
on the point, especially with trademark registration, the reason why you register, even though you have a Copyright Affairs Commission, is to give you as a brand owner the federal right to go to court and enforce your rights.
Exactly.
So trademark registrations are key. When your lawyer is telling you trademark registration, they're not telling you to collect your money.
We don't just want
I
to eat
wish,
your
and
money.
I think I would say, I wish people would know that investment you make, your legal investment in your business, is the best you can ever make. Because you can imagine, I've had several situations, especially with brands that are starting off and doing so well. Come and register trademark. Oh, I have CAC, and then along the line, maybe you travel and you see someone using that same exact brand, and you're like, you want to enforce. Yes, we could go through the hurdles of passing off and all that, but if you had a legal right, there's several other avenues and regulators that can actually help you, backing you on that legal right to ensure that your brand is protected, to ensure that you don't lose your customers in a competitive market. That's the reason why your trademark is there, to distinguish, give you a distinction amongst other people doing that same thing. So
basically, just take advantage of the protections that are
that the law provides.
Yes, just take
Exactly.
advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we're talking a lot about social media and all, my next point is it's something I see online a lot. I wish people knew that the court of public opinion is very
Way
different
different.
from the court of law. And what does that mean? So you see a case, someone comes online, tweets about something that happened to them, a personal experience they had, or they were someone, let me use the most popular example is, instances of domestic violence.
Yeah.
So you see a lady comes online and, accuses her partner of being violent towards her. And the court of public opinions, senior
drags
advocates of
Twitter.
Twitter and all the other social media
Drags
platforms,
everybody.
they analyze, they criticize, they do everything, and then they drag the other person through the mud. Now, this other person hasn't said a word. There's no concrete evidence to show that this actually happened, but people just go off the whim and believe. It's like when you're a child
Yeah.
and first person to report to mommy,
is the person that is actually saying the truth. That's not true.
So at the end of the day, what happens in a court of law is entirely different.
Yeah.
So social media has given its verdict, and by its verdict, it says
Kill, hang.
guilty.
Yeah.
This man is he
Cancel
abused.
culture.
Yes, cancel him. He's an abuser. He's this. He's that. But then he decides to go to court, and in court he presents his evidence. So he maybe has a video clip of the time when the woman was actually the aggressor. He had to lock himself in his room. She was
Yes.
breaking down the door and
To hide.
fighting, and even shows pictures of times where he had to visit the hospital after she beat him up badly.
And he has evidence and people to come and testify.
Yeah, he brought his receipts.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the court weighs the evidence and decides that, yes, this man, he was actually the victim. She's actually wrong.
The aggressor.
And then at the end, when the court delivers its judgments, yes, it delivers its judgment.
The court of Twitter.
It holds in favor of the man. Court of Twitter, everybody's angry.
And going crazy.
Without realizing that a lot happens in court. So people say a lot of things. People have a lot of game. They say a lot of game, but they can't back it up.
Yeah. I think I'm sorry to cut you
No,
short,
it's
but
fine.
to tie into your point that the applicable laws in the land,
Okay.
in court, the judge is not looking at how many opinions or the poll or who is for who and who. He's looking at what the law says. There are laws in the land, and that's what the judge is bound by, not by your opinion or how you feel about a certain situation. So I think
Yes.
tying to what you said, especially with Twitter, a while back, we had, I remember the time when an author of a particular work had given rights to a movie producer to produce something, and I think Twitter came and had their own opinions and said that they had to pay her, and there's a lot of back and forth on Twitter, and fortunately she succumbed to that and went in to sue this movie producer for not actually giving her the rights and all those other things. And when receipts were presented, it turned out that Twitter was just Twitter. The law was something else. So I
Yes.
think no matter how much no matter the noise and the hype on Twitter, you owe it to yourself to ask a lawyer, what does the law actually say? And that's it.
Yes. Before we conclude this point, it's important to also stress that there is a positive aspect to public opinion. Sometimes it mounts pressure on people to actually do what is right.
Do the right thing, yeah.
Sometimes, and that's why in jurisdictions like the US, where they have a jury system,
Yeah.
they ensure that members of the jury,
Do
especially when it's
When
a
it's sensational
now
case,
they ensure that members of the jury have not
Stay
been
away from social
exposed
media, stay away
to
from everything. Yeah.
public opinion
Yeah.
online and all of that, just to prevent them from bias. So public opinion can mount pressure,
on government agencies.
yes, on government agencies. In fact, even sometimes, if we're being realistic, on judges. So a judge knows that this particular case, people are watching.
People are going to scrutinize.
They are going to scrutinize. So he's going to sit up. He's going to ensure that he follows everything to the letter. He can back up everything that he decides. And so I
I think there's a good and there's a bad thing, but the most important thing is that you know what the law is saying, and you cannot know what the law is saying if you do not ask a lawyer.
yes. So ask your lawyer.
So we wish we wish people would ask their lawyers more and would trust our experience, our education.
Yes.
We understand what's happening in the country,
Because
but
we
we
spend
trust our
time in
experience.
school and we know what we're saying.
Our experience, most especially, our
True,
experience
true.
with dealing with diverse cases will be beneficial to you to be able to tell you, hey, there's water ahead, or stay
Sometimes you
back.
can almost predict, how the court
Situation.
will swing and
Yeah.
what will happen if, somebody takes a particular line of action.
So what's your final thought when it comes to dispute resolution, and what's the one thing that you want people to get away with, or just get away from
Okay.
this?
So
There's a lot. I know there's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot. Can you just give me one?
So I wish people knew that there were other forms of resolving disputes.
Yeah.
So going to court is not the only way.
Yeah.
A lot of times people think that once you engage a lawyer, it's because you are going to court. No, you can engage a lawyer for other things. We do more than just going to court. We, like you've said, we are risk assessors. We
Yeah.
assess the risk and we can say, okay, let's explore other forms of dispute resolution. For example, you have mediation. Mediation is basically two parties
Coming together.
sitting down and trying to have a resolution on a matter. Their lawyers can also be there, which is why
Just to steer the
Yes.
course, not to be. I know when people mention lawyers, they become
exactly
defensive.
it's just to make sure that to guide them as they go through the settlement process. There's arbitration, there's negotiation, and so there are
other forms that you don't need
other
to go
forms.
to
You don't
court.
always have to. My mom used to say this when I was a lot younger, that two brothers don't go to court and come back as friends. And from my years of experience,
That's true.
It's true. It's true.
It's true.
The only time you see people coming out as friends or coming out and a bit happy is most times when there's been an out of court settlement. So even while you're in court, you can actually still
Explore that,
explore the option to settle out of court.
Yeah.
So because then it's more like a win-win situation. People settle and agree for things that they are comfortable with. But when you just leave it solely to the court should be your last resort. Going to court, litigation, last resort.
All this, I will sue you. I'll sue
Yeah,
you.
any small thing, I'll sue you. Like, it's
And most of you saying that don't have receipts, so.
okay, true. Bring your evidence. Yes. So yeah, I think there are other forms. Explore it. If your lawyer is advising you to explore another form of dispute resolution, please don't see it as your lawyer being lazy or your lawyer. Yeah,
Doesn't have the energy to fight. You need
he's
someone
not
that
like
is strong.
He's not like
Yes,
no.
yeah.
He has actually done his work and is actually recommending something that will be beneficial to you because it will save your time, your money, your energy, and all of that.
Yeah, I think my final thoughts are the same thing. Always speak to a lawyer. Always get a lawyer to speak to on every option you have, on what you're thinking. Because oftentimes, especially with IP, I find out that people will talk to their friends and they will be hurt in the end when the friend takes that idea and runs with it, and they're like, "Oh, what can I do?" And I'm like,
Yes.
you should have spoken to a lawyer first to actually help you, to tell you exactly what to go. I think that is just the final thing. We wish people would take our role as lawyers and the law in the land more seriously and not just, do things. And I hope that we've been able to clear some misconception and doubts.
Yeah, I also just wanted to add, you see a lot of time people have brilliant ideas and they go on social media and they post the idea and maybe just issue a little disclaimer, please, nobody should use it. Like what
And then
does
somebody
that do?
just takes it and tweaks it a bit, and then you now say, it was my idea.
Yeah, and sometimes
Not really.
two people can think of
the same
the
thing,
same
the same
thing.
way you're thinking, the same way I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So who's to say?
who's to say who thought of it first.
Yeah, it's who is doing it first.
Yes, so that's important. And I think my final
Thought.
not even thoughts, my final comment is a lot of times, I'm sure every single lawyer who has passed through law school and all of that has heard this statement. People say, oh, once you become a lawyer, I'll go and look for trouble. I'll look for trouble and
That's
I'll
not the
come.
way- we are not.
Before you look for trouble,
Come
and
to
meet-
us.
Yes, come to us.
us.
We will tell you what
If
type
it's
of
worth
trouble
it.
you can look for, the extent to which you can look for
If
that
it's
trouble.
even necessary to look for the trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's necessary, what will happen after you look for the trouble, how we can prevent it. Like, we are able to
Help you.
act as both risk assessors and troubleshooters. So when
And problem solvers.
and problem solvers.
Yeah.
So please reach out to your lawyer. Please have a lawyer on standby for anything.
Look at
you're
your
doing.
agreements, look at everything. Don't go. I understand that we're in this do-it-yourself era. Everybody wants to do it themselves, but have a lawyer coach you through the process of doing it yourself, so you don't go and take on obligations that you signed. You sign with your own hands, and then you can't
Yes.
fulfill. So
So
always
protect yourself.
yeah, always look for a lawyer. I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you.
Yes,
Yoma,
it's
and I
been
hope
fun.
that and I hope you guys have taken one or two things away from what we have said. And
Think before you tweet.
yes, bye, bye.
Bye.